a day of devastation. The world watched in horror as news broke of another deadly airstrike in Gaza. Israeli fighter jets soared over the crowded city, their target a Hamas compound. The roar of explosions echoed through the streets, reducing buildings to rubble and leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. When the dust settled, the human cost of this latest chapter in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict became tragically clear. At least 90 Palestinians were dead, including women and children. The strike marked a significant escalation in the ongoing conflict, raising fears of a wider conflagration in the region. International condemnation was swift, with many world leaders expressing outrage at the heavy civilian death toll. The attack served as a grim reminder of the human cost of the seemingly intractable conflict, leaving many to wonder when, or even if, peace might ever be possible. However, the Israeli narrative did little to quell the international outcry. Critics pointed out that even if the targeted individual was indeed a legitimate military target, the operation was carried out with a reckless disregard for civilian lives. The high number of casualties, they argued, constituted a clear violation of international law and raised serious questions about Israel's use of force in the region. The stories of those caught in the crossfire are heartbreaking. Parents shielding their children with their own bodies, only to lose them in the blink of an eye. Families torn apart, their homes reduced to rubble. The physical wounds will eventually heal, but the psychological scars of this latest tragedy will likely linger for a lifetime.
Section 4. A history of conflict, Israel and Hamas. To understand the current situation, it's essential to delve into the long and complex history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. For decades, the two sides have been locked in a bitter struggle over land, resources, and recognition. Hamas, designated a terrorist organization by many countries, controls the Gaza Strip and has fought numerous wars with Israel.
This latest escalation is just another chapter in a seemingly endless cycle of violence. Each side blames the other for the bloodshed, and the underlying issues remain unresolved. The international community has repeatedly called for a peaceful resolution, but efforts to broker a lasting peace deal have consistently faltered.
Section 5. The world reacts, calls for peace and restraint. The international community reacted to the airstrike with a mixture of condemnation and calls for restraint. The United Nations Security Council held an emergency meeting to discuss the situation, with many member states expressing grave concern over the escalating violence. Humanitarian organizations called for immediate access to Gaza to provide aid to those affected by the attack.
However, finding a path to peace remains elusive. The Israeli government insists on its right to defend itself against attacks from Hamas, while the militant group vows to continue its resistance against what it sees as Israeli occupation. The lack of trust between the two sides, coupled with the complex political realities on the ground, makes a negotiated settlement seem like a distant dream.
Section 6. A fragile hope, the need for lasting peace. In the aftermath of this latest tragedy, the world is left to ponder the seemingly intractable nature of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The cycle of violence continues, claiming innocent lives and pushing the dream of a peaceful resolution further out of reach. Yet, even amidst the despair, there remains a glimmer of hope.
The international community must redouble its efforts to find a lasting solution, one that addresses the legitimate security concerns of both sides while upholding the human rights of all people. This will require dialogue, compromise, and a willingness to break free from the cycle of violence. Only then can we hope to see a future where Israelis and Palestinians can coexist in peace and security.